Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome back to our tutorial series, everybody. We back for another part. In this episode, we're going to work on our sword and shield pickup items. And the way I have this set up is that when we hover over and get close to it, we get the name of the item, the attack strength, the speed, and as well as the shield, you get the how many seconds you can hold the shield up for. We haven't set up our blocking function yet. But once we get close to it with our controller, if we press our interact button, we start to pick it up. But if we hold it enough, bam, it switches out. If you take this one, and if you see this one, it takes 3 hits, or it's 3 hearts for this box, and this one has 2 attack strength. So once we pick this up, instead of 3 hits, it takes 2. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you how I set this up. Okay, so first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to have to first create a new input action. So we need to go to where our controls are, and we need to do new input action right here. And I'm going to delete this because I already created it. So I'm going to show you where it's at. Delete. Mine, I put MIA interact. Open this up. And the 2 triggers we're going to need is pressed and released. And we just add that by doing it up here. And you pick the 2 triggers. All right, let's go ahead and remove this one. I don't need this one anymore. Delete. All right, and the next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to actually go into our controller, our controls, and in our input mapping context, we're going to open this up. We're going to add it by clicking this plus, and then we're going to select our, for me, MIA interact, and the trigger for me, I did the left, which is X on a Xbox controller, the left face button for the controller, and that's it. And I did set these up to where I have keyboard controls too, but like I said, I was kind of thinking in my head, I don't think keyboard controls is going to work out well. Like if one player uses the keyboard and the other player uses the controller, I think it's just going to be a controller required game. But we'll see. If I go back and change it, I'll do that. But for now, I just did the left face button. So boom, boom. That's set up. That's what we need to do with the controls. So the next thing we need to go is we need to go into our item pickup interface. We made this for all of our other pickup items. And we need to create another function. And we need to do a plus right here. And I've already done it. But you need to do sword and shield, or you can name whatever you want to, but make this function. And then you need to add the 2 inputs we need as our player controller reference. You can do that by pressing plus. So whatever your not player controller, the player character reference. And then we need another boolean that says, we need another input that says a boolean that says stop. And because what this is going to do is we're going to reference our player. Obviously, we need that. But the stop is going to determine if, when, and how we should show our widget. Like how when I walked within range of the sword, it showed the information. And then when I left, it removed it. So boom, that's what we need that for. We'll go ahead and delete this one. And then we're done with our interface. We don't need that for right now. Now we're going to go and change something in our pickup parent. We're going to add this. We're going to, first off, we need to make our interactable instance editable. And we need to make our pickup enum instance editable because that's what I did for our sword and shield, so I can determine what it should show and what text should show. So we're going to make those open. And then we're going to do this. We're going to get our interactable, get, and we'll do set. And we need our sphere because initially it's where we can't interact with it. And we're going to change that for our sword and shield, or just in certain cases. So for that, we're going to do set generate overlap events. And we're going to make it the same as our interactable. Boom. Boom. And now we need to check. Let's get our interactable. And we need to check if this is not interactable, like right out of the gate, then we want to play our spawn in movement where it shoots out. So that's when we want to do that. Boom, boom. Spawn and save. Because if now that's how we're going to be able to check. Like, let's say if we have items already in the rooms on the ground and we don't want them to go in any direction, we can just trigger whenever we place it, the interactable true. So it's immediately interactable and it won't go flying as soon as we spawn in. And the next thing we're going to need to change is this, because this will cause issues. If we don't change this, when we go to rotate our sword or something in place, it'll be spinning in the wrong direction or in the wrong way. So we need to get our relative rotation. Oops. get relative rotation, split, and we need to put our X and our Y in there. And the Z stays the same from here. Compile, save. Boom, boom, and boom. So the next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to have to go into our Aki character. Oh, and I already have it here. We'll make it from scratch so you can follow what's going on. Boom. Let's make it from scratch. All right. So in our Aki character, we need to go ahead and call our interact event. MIA interact enhanced action event. That was I'm making it from scratch. So what we need to do is we need to check the ongoing, because if it's held down, then we need to call this. So when it's held down, we need to get overlapping actors. And the class we want to check for, we have to actually create it. Hold on 1 second. We're going in the wrong order. Let's stop for a second. We have to actually create it. So player, we got to go back to our MyBP. We need to go to where our parent pickup item is, and we need to create it. I made this one, but I'm going to recreate it for us. So create a child blueprint class of the parent, and we're going to call this sword shield. Sword shield new, since I already have one. Now, normally, depending on how complicated you make your game, I wouldn't recommend obviously doing this all together like this, because the hearts, coins, and the potions and stuff and the sword and shield are very different. If we had a more complex like attack system, I would recommend doing the sword and shield completely separate, because that'll be its own blueprint with a whole lot of other logic, but I'm going to do most of this logic from within my character, as you're about to see. So now we're going to go back into our Aki character, and now we're going to do sword shield new, because that's a reference to this, because we don't want to do the parent this time. Normally we've been doing the parent, but in this time when we interact, we want just to check if it's either the sword or the shield, nothing else. So, and then now we're going to get a copy of 0. And actually, do we want to get a copy of 0, or do we want to? Yeah, we'll say 0, because 0 is the first thing that we interact and overlap with. So we'll go with 0. And if it's valid, we need to check if this is valid, because if it's not valid, we don't need it. This doesn't need to do anything. Now, if it's valid, we're going to promote this to a variable. Interacted item reference. Oops. Oh, we already got that. Interact pick up reference. Let me delete this. It's causing me some issues. All right, so we need this. Valid. And now we're going to do sword and shield function. We're going to call it. And the player reference is going to be ourself. And yeah, that's correct. Compile and save. We also need to add this on the completed, because once we let the button go, the command is completed. So we need to get this, get our interact pickup reference, and we need to convert it to a validated get. So if this is valid, because it means we set it up here to something. If this is valid, we're going to call our sword and shield function again. Did I call the correct thing? I did. And then the player reference itself. And this is stop. Compile, save. Boom, boom, boom. And we are all set in our Aki character. Nothing else changes. Unless I'm forgetting something. And if I did, just let me know in the comment section. So the next thing we need to go into is actually the class we just created. So our sword and shield. And now we're going to need to add something specific to this because it's not, we've been using the parent to kind of, delegate everything out, but this is something that's specific to our sword and shield. So we need a widget. We need our widget, and we can just name that. We'll just call it our stats overlay. So we need that. Boom, boom. And we need some unique variables just for this. We need the ATK speed. This is our attack speed. We're going to duplicate this. We need also the attack strength, ATK STR. We need also, this can be an integer actually, not a float. This can be an integer. We also need the, oh yes, duplicate, shield duration. This is how long we're going to be able to block for, because we don't want the player, at least from my game, I don't want the player to be able to block infinitely. We also need, what else am I forgetting? Yes, we need this. Our item name. Oops. We need our item name. And I think that's all that we needed. Text. We need this to be a text. And we need, I believe that's everything. Yeah, I believe that's everything. All right, cool. If I forgot anything, we'll add it. So we need to go into here, and we need to change something off our begin play. So the first thing we need to do is this. We need to get our stats overlay, get widget. And this is going to call after everything that's done basically in our parent. So everything here is going to get called still. All this is fine. We're just going to add on to it. So now we're going to cast to sword. Oh, we got to make it. That's right. Got to make another one. Be forgetting I have stuff already made. So let's recreate it. We're going to create a new user interface, widget blueprint, call it user widget, select, and we're going to call it sword shield widget. Boom. So let's cast to it sword shield widget. And we're going to promote this to a variable. And here's where we're going to need to set everything that we had. But we're going to stop right there for just now because we can't do anything because we have to do more in terms of creating it and whatnot. So let's go here. We need to also, on our sphere overlay, we got to change some things. Because unlike our other items where as soon as you overlap, you pick it up and it's gone, we need to just show our information. So let's go here. On sphere begin overlap, we need to check if this implements the interface we made. So pick up item interface. Boom. So this is still the same. Branch. And we're going to check if we're interactable. So if both these is true, we need to now go to our stats overlay. Instead of picking it up, we need to set the visibility. Visibility, true. And now when we end our overlay on end overlap, we need to get, instead of actually just checking if we end overlap, because if we have two players, we don't want it to, when one player walks away, it disappears. We need to do this. Get overlapping actors. And we'll filter for our character, Haki. So get a copy. Now, this is valid. If it's not valid, that means nobody's is overlapping this. If it's valid, we're going to, excuse me, if it's not valid, set visibility. We're going to set that to false. That means nobody's overlapping this sword at the moment. So boom, boom. Or at least nobody that can interact with it. So there, that's set up. Now we're going to need to add some things obviously here. But we're going to need to set up some things in our UI widget real quick. So we'll go here. We're going to change the draw side to desired. And we're going to need to, I believe, check the, what is it called? What was it? Let me check my thing. Size box. There we go. Size box. That's what we need. We're going to get a size box. Boom. We're going to get a border. Boom. And I'm going to go ahead and change the color of this. I can leave it white, but I want it to be less visible. Just a little bit see-through. And I might change it more see-through, honestly. Let's go a little bit lower. Let's go to 0.6. Compile, save. Now let's do a horizontal box. Right there. We need, in our horizontal box, we need a progress bar. Let's go ahead and name this player 1 progress. And I'm doing 2 because if both players interact, it's whoever fills up that bar first that gets that item, in case both try to pick it up at the same time. So vertical box. Now I need a vertical box in the horizontal box. And we need to duplicate this because I need another progress bar. And we're going to call this one player 2 progress bar. Now next we need to add text in here. So let's get a text box. Let's add it to our vertical box. And we need to increase our outline because it's definitely not going to be visible like that. 3 should be fine. And we need to duplicate. Wait. Before we duplicate, let's make sure it's centered. Now we duplicate. And that's it. We're going to call this box our item name. And it is a variable. We want it to be a variable. And we want our item info. And we want that to be a variable as well. Compile, save. And that is it. Wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. Our progress bars, we need to change this. Change the background image. And I need to do it for both of them. So let me select both. The background image for both, we want the alpha to be 0. We don't want to see it at all. And now for this one, we want to change the color to red because that's going to be for our player 2. We're going to change that to red. And we need to create bindings for both of them. So create binding. This is for the first progress bar, and we're going to promote this to a variable. Player 1 progress. Boom. And for this one, we're going to do bind this one as well. Oh, wait. Crap. Wrong thing. That was wrong. I binded the color by mistake. I don't need that. Hold on. Let me remove that. Remove that binding. I need the percent as a binding. Create binding. Promote to variable. And we're going to call this player 2 progress. Easy money, just like that. And that's all. We're done with this one.